everybody. Welcome to ADP 420. Today, we're going to be going over some fantasy football sleepers. I have compiled a list of one of each team, and Quentin will be assisting, and we'll be going over it together.
Yes, assisting.
I don't know, we can just hop into it. I just want to see who is it that you have for the Chiefs?
For the Chiefs, oh gosh, see now, I text it to you.
Because I did not go with that. We'll just start there, and we can start in the AFC West. And for the Chiefs, I actually have Hollywood Brown. His ADP is at 110, and Rashid's not going to be back for a minute. Xavier Worthy is kind of on one side, and then you'd have Hollywood on the other, and his ADP is just so the criteria for the sleepers I have here are just as long as their average draft position is 100 or less. So you'd find them if you're in a 10 team league, you'd find them around round 10. This is going to be a bench player. Some of them are handcuffs, some of them are deeper sleepers. But for the Chiefs, I'm thinking Hollywood Brown would be kind of a good pickup there around, 10 or 11. Because if he stays healthy, which is a big if, it could be, I think, worthwhile late round flyer. What do you think?
Oh, the sleeper was Jimmy Holiday. That was his name. Man. Apparently he's. It's the typical trading camp sleeper though. That we'll see hopefully, but he plays a lot like Rice. Ran a 4.40.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna slot in the offense just as like the number 2 receiver?
Yeah, I think he might end up being number 2 until Rashid comes back.
That's going to be a minute. He hasn't been dealt a suspension yet, and he's coming off of a really intense injury. So he may be good if you're...
I don't think he'll start as number 2, though. I think it's just going to be, I think he'll work his way up.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good. Where's he at? Projected at?
I have no idea. Probably not.
Get a check real quick. Is it Jimmy Holiday? Is it spelled M-I-E? I think there's a search bar at the top. I don't know if it'll tell us.
Yeah, not even on there. Yeah.
Well, do you have anybody else for the AFC West?
For sleepers?
Yeah.
Like that's, I guess you're saying starting from 100?
Yeah, from 100 or lower. So you're going to be at like page 3.
Oh goodness, I can't scroll down to it. Oh, here we go. For the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Oh, if Hollywood's what, 23? Yeah, Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going later. A lot of people are drafting Rashid still early, but I don't think he's going to be coming back till at least half the season, and that's not including the suspension that's coming.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about the Chargers? Do you know anybody from that they might...
suck.
Okay.
No, I don't know who they have. Do they stop Quentin Johnson?
They
right?
do stop Quentin Johnston.
Yeah. I doubt he's getting drafted very high, right? Above 100?
He's not.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are starting to give up on the Quentin Johnston experiment.
Yeah. Might give it another shot.
They drafted a new guy, and there's going to be a lot of rookies on this list. A new guy named Trey Harris. He's going to be their wide receiver number 3.
How do you spell Quentin? How do you spell his?
I don't know. It should be... There it is. Oh, it's I-N.
Q-E-N.
Oh, E-N.
101.
101.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for him. I would go for a guy named Trey Harris. He's their new rookie. they're leaning on their rookies a little bit more now that we saw how good Ladd McConkey did. So just eat.
How do you spell it?
It should just be TRE.
Oh, TRE.
And then Harris.
Oh, there he is.
Way. I think he was a second or third round pick.
Okay, they're saying 101 there though, so.
I have him.
Is this something with the with being?
Oh yeah, maybe when you search it, the rank just comes up like that.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it does for whoever you pick.
Do Patrick Mahomes. See where he's ranked.
I was gonna say 101.
Yeah. Not very good. There's 100 players better. There's 100 players better than him.
Yeah.
Wow, ESPN, wild takes.
Hold on. Let me reset all. Oh. Okay. Well then.
Oh, now it has them all ranked in the hundreds.
Because it.
There we go. ESPN's just glitchy as hell.
Oops.
So I have Trey Harris for the Chargers. Do you know who the Raiders got this offseason?
Gianti.
They did get Gianti.
Yeah.
That's very good, but he's going in the top 10.
Yeah.
They got a new little guy named Jack Beck.
Mm.
He's who was that? Who was that one that they had there for a couple of years? Little white guy that was really quick.
Oh.
He was a PPR monster. I forgot to.
I know. Are you talking about Hunter Renfrow?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have a new one. His name's Jack Beck. They drafted him this year.
I was say, isn't Hunter Renfrow still there? Did he go to the Jaguars?
I think he retired.
Did he retire?
He went somewhere else, and then I think he retired. So, because I think the Raiders have a good case of being a pretty fantasy reliable team this year. They have Geno Smith at quarterback. They have Pete Carroll at head coach.
Yeah.
They're getting their offense together. You know, I think their defense is going to be their weak point this year, and that's good for fantasy because that means that there's going to be a lot of garbage time.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them playing catch up. So I think the Raiders might have a few. I feel like the people who draft Raiders players are going to have a good experience.
Hot take.
Hot take. And then the Broncos. Would you be surprised to hear that I think it's going to be Devon Vele again?
No, I wouldn't be surprised to hear
that. I was like, well, the Broncos were the one that I ran into a problem with because all of their good players are going to go in the top 100. Bo Nix will be gone. Cortland Sutton will be gone.
Yeah.
Whoever their number 2 wide receiver is still kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
And their running backs are kind of all over the place. I would say it's RJ Harvey, but he's going in the top 50. And that's their new rookie running back they drafted.
Yeah.
So, I think he's going to be pretty good, but he's going pretty high. So I would have to go just to meet the criteria, Devon Vele again, because we don't know who the wide receiver 2 is going to be. It's probably not going to be Marvin Mims. So.
Why not?
He's kind of. It seems like he's better on special teams.
Yeah.
They kind of want him there. So. They're just trying to keep Vele healthy, I think. All right. Want to move to the AFC South?
Sure.
How do you feel about the Texans?
Yeah, I know they, I don't know. Yeah, sleepers.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't make
man.
a list.
I think it's pretty good. It's Jaden Higgins for the Texans. He's a rookie wide receiver that they drafted. I want to say in like the 3rd round. He's going at like 132. They don't know who their wide receivers are going to be. They have Nico Collins and Tank Dell still hurt. You know. Hey, there he goes.
Touchdowns. Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, that's Jane Higgins. Receiver. Projections 147.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a nice pickup in a lot of later rounds because they don't have a whole lot of other options outside of Nico.
Yeah, it's fair. Colts.
Colts. I have DJ Giddens. Now, Josh Downs is very quarterback dependent. I saw him there.
Yeah.
He could be good, but he's gonna be very boom or bust. So, and the problem with the Colts right now is they don't know who their quarterback is gonna be. It's either gonna be Anthony Richardson or I think who went there? It was Daniel Jones, right? So they're gonna be battling between who's the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I went with they drafted a running back in like the third or fourth round, and as a Jonathan Taylor stan, I can tell you that guy gets hurt a lot. So whoever the number 2 is going to get a lot of carries, a lot of touches. That's what happened. That's why Zach Moss blew up, and got a big contract when he went to the Bengals, or what? It was the other way around. Where is Zach Moss now? All right. Next,
Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, he went back. That's right. Because they needed someone behind Joe Mixon. No, because Joe Mixon left. He's in Houston now. Then for the Titans, I have Chig Okonkwo, their tight end. I think they're gonna be running with Cam Ward, obviously, their number 1 overall pick. And quarterbacks really like relying on their tight ends.
Yeah.
Rookie quarterbacks do.
Yeah.
So, he's going 164. So that's like round 16. That's way late.
Yeah.
There he is right there at the top. Yeah. And then, last in the AFC South, I have Baishal Tutin. Or the Jaguars' defense. This is the only defense I have on the list. And I think that this division is kind of sloppy. And the Jaguars have invested a lot of early first-round picks over the last few years on defense. And it could pop off this year.
Yeah.
And then Baishal Tutin is... So, their running back room is really weird. Okay? Now, Trevor Lawrence, it seems like his job is on the line this season. And he's got to prove the money that he's worth because people are starting to clue in on what you had to say about quarterbacks and their big contracts. So their running back room is kind of all over the place. And it seems like Travis Etienne is like the odd man out, right? And then they have Tank Bigsby, but neither of these guys can hold on to the ball. They fumble it a bunch.
Yeah.
So they drafted the fastest running back in the draft this year, and a guy named Baishal Tutin. So he's going like 118.
Mm-hmm.
So he may go. He may be worth a late round flyer.
What's that, round 11?
What?
115.
Yes, that's about round 11, round 12 area. Then there's the AFC North. How do you feel about the Ravens? This was a hard team for me. Do you know anybody?
For sleeper picks?
Yeah, like a wide receiver 2, a backup running back.
No, I mean no. Well, is their backup still? Was it? What was his name? Justice Hill?
It's Justice Hill. Yeah. He's okay, but he's the
RB2, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's the passing downs back.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah.
In PPR, he could be okay, but he still goes top 100.
Yeah.
Because of his PPR value. For the Ravens, I have Rashad Bateman. He's going 145. Now he gets hurt, and Lamar doesn't throw a bunch.
Yeah.
So I mean, he does. He'll have games where he goes crazy, but. I think that's kind of an easy one. I feel like Rashad Bateman's going to be that wide receiver that sits on free agency all year because nobody wants to commit to it. Yeah.
And then they'll pick him up, and then he won't have a big game.
Yeah, he'll get like maybe 4 points.
Yeah.
Steelers have a rough situation because they still don't have a quarterback. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers at the Steelers? Does that help their fantasy at all?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Honestly, probably. I think I don't know. Aaron Rodgers didn't do awful last season,
I mean, maybe not. They didn't win a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of think Aaron Rodgers is washed.
You think he's a little toxic too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Steelers players, when they get drafted, I think a lot of people are going to have buyer's remorse, and their offense with or without Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be great. But with them moving George Pickens,
So that's the question.
I think Calvin Austin, one of their wide receiver might step into a wide receiver 2 role, and whoever their quarterback is might feed him a bit more, because you can't really get a vibe on a wide receiver until you know who the quarterback is.
Yeah.
Because they might not just throw to them a bunch.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone asked a question. It's a dynasty question. Would y'all rather Bucky Irving or Hampton in dynasty? I'm willing to trade for one at Brees and Monty and Najee.
All right.
Najee. So Marion Hampton or Bucky Irving? I'd probably take Hampton over Bucky Irving. I don't know.
I think
where Bucky's is he still in?
He's in Tampa Bay.
He's still in Tampa
Bay. He's going to be their main guy. Well, Rachaad White is still there, but he doesn't do anything. Bucky has more explosive power, and they're going to be throwing a bunch with Baker. So, I mean, that's going to pull a lot of defenses off. Whoever the Buccaneers running back is going to have a good year. It's going to be Doug Martin all over again, I think, because their offense is really good. And Omarion Hampton, where's he at now? He got drafted to Chargers.
Yeah.
He's going to be splitting with Najee, and he has Najee, so
yeah,
he'd be hedging his bets on whoever John Harbaugh likes the most.
Yeah.
They're going to feed it a lot to their young guy. But, man, Chargers players do get hurt a lot.
Yeah, they tend to charger.
Yeah. I would go Bucky Irving, personally. And as far as being willing to trade for one, I would keep all those guys. But you'd be hedging bets with Najee Harris and just really committing to the Chargers run game.
Yeah. Or if they want Najee over Hampton.
Yeah, because what if they don't feed Hampton at all and Najee has a really good year?
Yeah.
Then you get both Bucky and Najee. I mean, he never broke out for the Steelers, but I just don't think the Steelers have.
I mean, he still had 1,000 yards every year, hasn't he? Yeah.
Has he? I thought he had.
So.
Okay.
Najee.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's had 1,000 yards, it's every season still.
I would trade for Bucky.
Yeah.
Who do I have next? The Browns. Do you think there's anybody viable on the Browns offense? They have the worst quarterback room, and they could go with anybody. And we don't know who they're gonna vibe with.
Yeah.
You know that Njoku and Judy are gonna be big targets.
Yeah. I'd probably Judy.
But that would be. But both of those guys are going top 100.
Oh, well,
for a sleeper, I have Cedric Tillman, who I had a good call on last year. I just picked him up, and he had a huge game because I heard that Jameis Winston was starting, and Jameis loves to just throw the ball. So I was like, this guy, with Judy being kind of hurt, he's going to have a huge game, and he did. He had like a 30, 40-point game. Yeah. He kind of fell off as the season went on, but I feel like if the Browns figure out what their quarterback situation looks like, with it could be Shador, it could be Joe Flacco. I'm confident.
Well, I guess probably not taking quarterbacks for sleeper picks because it could be Shador.
There could be some quarterbacks. I mean,
in fact, Shador definitely not going top 100.
I think he is.
Really?
Yeah. Well, just the name value alone, and he's, could be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
What if he turns the franchise around, Quentin? Then for the Bengals, I have Mike Gesicki. Now, Joe Burrow does not like his tight ends,
Yeah.
But I think Jamar is going to start getting the Calvin Johnson treatment, and he's just going to be double-tuned.
Yeah.
And that's going to open the door for T. Higgins, who's going to start having to get, the rest of it. So it's going to just open the door for the tight end and check down passes. So whoever their passing downs running back is, which is most likely going to be, Zach Moss?
Yeah.
Because he's also really good at pass blocking. He's going to get fed. I think the two main guys, they're still going to have huge games. It's still Jamar Chase. Take him number 1 overall if you can type thing. But I think he's going to get a lot of pressure on him.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, yeah, he's still going to perform. I mean, I don't think he's going to get shut down by any means. And they're not going to stop, like, trying to feed him either way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Mike Gesicki, their tight end, it's another year.
That's crazy. He's not top 100.
Yeah, no, I have him at 167.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's their starting tight end, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll pop over to the AFC East. Do you have any teams over here? Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots?
For sleepers.
Like somebody that you might not expect going top really high.
Probably is I can't remember his name. There's their RB2.
The Jets, Dolphins, the Bills.
The Jets, or sorry, the Dolphins.
Oh, not A-Chain.
No, not A-Chain. Yeah, that's why I'm high.
Yeah. What are the chances? ADP 420. Woo!
Man, I guess I can just look it up. So I can't just look at teams on through here.
Yeah, well, you could. You can go scroll up.
I can filter by team.
Yeah. Pro team.
Oh, look at you.
It's not going to keep the ranking on the left is going to reset every time. It's just going to be like, it's not going to give the proper top 100 ranking.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I know it's saying 5, 6. Yeah.
But I would assume, so it's Jalen Wright is their number 2. I have the guy underneath him, Nick Westbrook-Ikini. I think Tyreek Hill is kind of a big trade target, and could be. And the Dolphins, if they start having a bad year, they might start accepting that they need to do something else.
Yeah, you think they get rid of Tyreek?
They'll move Tyreek. Oof. They might move McDaniels. They drop McDaniels. They might even move Tua, or just let him walk. But I do think that if the Dolphins are just one of those teams that are just teetering on just that weird area between playoff bound and just needing a full rebuild.
Yeah.
And but I have Nick Westbrook-Ikini. He's their wide receiver 3. But if Tyreek moves, then he's going to see a huge uptick in targets. And their tight end Jonnu Smith, he's going to get a lot of attention throughout the year too. But he's I think he's higher. I think he's a top 10 tight end.
Yeah.
For the Jets, keep it in the AFC East. I have Mason Taylor, who was their tight end that they drafted this year. And it seems like the old rule of the tight ends needing a year to really blow up is kind of old hat. It's not really doesn't really apply anymore. Brock Bowers had a huge season last year, and it seems like teams are wanting to rely on the youth of their tight ends while they still have it. So I'm thinking their young tight end Mason Taylor, because their quarterback is Justin Fields, and I have him as a sleeper. He's going 126.
Oh.
If you are going no quarterback and going just all weapons in the first 10, 12 rounds, Justin Fields might be there and might be might pop off a little bit. Mm-hmm. But outside of Brees and Garrett Wilson, there's not a lot of Jets players that are going to see a lot of fantasy impact otherwise.
Yeah.
Braylon Allen, which everybody thought was going to blow up last year with Aaron Rodgers being around and stuff, he had a few games, but I don't think he's super. I don't think he's even sleeper worthy. Lazard's going to move at some point. They don't want him since he's kind of an Aaron Rodgers holdover. Mason Taylor I think might be as a late round tight end if you want to go.
I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then next I have the Bills. The Bills have a lot of people are saying that Keon Coleman's going to be. This is going to be the year because last year he was a rookie, but he might also have a sophomore slump down from what already wasn't a fantastic rookie year. So I actually think it could be Josh Palmer.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think I'm surprised that they have
because
Palmer going.
They have him
after.
way late, after the defenses. So Josh Palmer is going to be their number 2 wide receiver, and he has a reliable track record in as the Chargers' number 2 guy for forever.
Yeah.
You know, he's not. He's the. He's not a bad guy. He's like the what was that guy's name? Roy something. He played for the Bills before. It was like Roy Johnson or something. It was a very plain. He's pretty consistent, is what I mean to say. And I think that once he starts seeing some targets, you know, he's not going to be a Mike Williams. He's not going to be a Quentin Johnston that came out of the Chargers. You know, he's not a bad wide receiver. He's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I think he's gonna have a good year.
Oh, Steve Johnson.
As long as he can stay healthy, I think he'll be fine. Especially with Josh Allen throwing to him, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's Steve Johnson was his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Amari Cooper of Steve Johnsons. Pretty good for being pretty consistent.
Fair enough.
And then Patriots. I have Drake May.
And Drake May. Yeah, that's what I was asking about. Yeah, about quarterbacks.
I have a couple quarterbacks on here.
Yeah.
I think Drake May could have a really big bounce back season. I think they're still trying to build the offense, and I don't know who his main targets are going to be. You know, so someone like Demario Douglas or something could pop off and have a huge year, but they have Stephon Diggs, but he's coming off of an ACL tear, and he's hurt. Or he's not hurt, he's getting older, you know? Mm-hmm. He's been in the league for a decade now. Like, that sneaks up quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's 31 now.
Yeah. So I think Drake May, they've been trying to build their offense. Their offensive line is getting better. They're investing in protecting him. Once he gets a foothold and starts, you know, being able to throw the ball around, we're gonna know who his main guys are.
Yeah.
But I think the Patriots could. I don't know. They still have to compete with the Bills, but I think they could make playoffs next year. You know, I don't think that they're going to win the division. Card. Yeah, but they could make the wild card.
Yeah. They have to have a.
And that
good
is
luck, I think, for that. But
do what?
I said I think they'd have to have some good luck for that, but I think it could happen. Yeah, I mean, if Diggs is healthy and not, you know,
if their offense is doing well, or, you know, if they go 10-7 next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing from the fourth place, right? They finished last.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, they have the easier schedule.
Yeah. And then, so that's the entire AFC. Would you draft anybody that I mentioned? Was there any that intrigued you at all?
Yeah. Definitely on the Jets.
Mason Taylor, Justin
Taylor,
Fields.
yeah, Mason Taylor. Looking at tight ends, that's kind of, I don't know. I think tight ends one of the most important positions in fantasy football, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's very underrated.
So I think that's really where I'm going to be looking for, especially we're in a keeper league, and I already have, I'm keeping Bijan.
Yeah,
so
smart. I'm not keeping anybody.
Yeah, between Bijan and Henry.
I'm gonna be disappointed losing Jalen Hurts, but I've had him for the last 5 years, something like that.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I want to see other quarterbacks play.
Yeah.
I want to get in on. I think Bo Nix is gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
I wanted to get in on that. So let's hop over to the NFC.
Okay.
I have, we'll do the NFC South. I have the Panthers. How do you think the Panthers are going to do next year?
Terrible like always.
I think they might. Oh wait, I guess Hunter Renfrow is in Carolina.
He's a Panther now. Yeah.
I thought he retired. Well, Jonathan Brooks was way down there.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep. He might. Well, they also they picked up Rico Dowdle, so they're obviously not married to Jonathan Brooks. I have Bryce Young.
No, I do. I think I do think the Panthers are going to have a good year. I think we talked about this last year too. That they were really close to winning a lot of games at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're playoff bound.
I think they can make the playoffs this year.
But I don't think that they're going to be. I don't think they're going to have a top 10 pick either.
At the end of the year, they look pretty good.
Yeah, Bryce Young started going crazy.
Yeah, I think if they can carry that over,
they have their two main guys that he's throwing to are Adam Thielen and Tet McMillan.
Yeah.
And Tet McMillan he's the guy that didn't like watching tape or whatever, but he was regarded as the wide receiver 1 in this year's draft. They drafted him. They're trying to give Young some weapons. Now, I don't know how Carolina historically does drafting wide receivers in the first round, but I do know that Kelvin Benjamin was a bust. So, big body players, big guys down in Carolina don't always develop, but that might just be, superstition. I also have Xavier Legette.
Yeah.
A lot of people, he's very popular. He tends to get some looks his way. They're adding more weapons. Now, he was getting hurt a lot last year. Mm-hmm. And that's why he didn't really do a whole lot. But people are expecting this to be the Xavier Legette breakout year.
Yeah.
So,
I think that like I said, I think Adam Thielen, it's going to be interesting if he just continues to do the same. Maybe he's on that Tom Brady diet.
I mean, he's staying healthy.
Yeah.
And catching touchdowns. That's all you got to do.
I think honestly, I think Adam Thielen's not. I don't think their wide receiver room is that bad. If, like you said, if Leggett can stay healthy, I like Leggett. He's his interviews are always super cool.
Mm-hmm. He would be in the ADP blunt rotation.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, him and Baker would be there, and well, there's other people that are invited.
Yeah.
All right. Next is the Buccaneers. Is there anybody that you know on their offense that?
Well, like you said, I like Bucky Irving. You know.
But how high is he going? He's like he's number one.
He's the first. He's the first one that's getting drafted. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chris Godwin. See how he does.
Coming off of an ACL tear.
I don't know when he's actually getting drafted. I wish it would show.
Yeah, I wish it
on
would
this. Or when you search their name.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but.
I have Emeka Egbuka. He's there. He's going to be he's Ohio State. Wide receiver university. He was the guy up there. They drafted him in the first round, I think, didn't they? Yes. Yeah. This is a first round pick. He's going to be. Chris Godwin can't stay healthy, and Mike Evans is just getting older.
I still think Mike Evans has another 1,000-yard.
I do think Mike Evans has another 1,000-yard season.
Yeah,
in him. But it can't all be Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta. You're gonna.
I agree. I think Chris Godwin's. Yeah.
So they invested in their wide receiver room. They're giving Baker things to play with, and I think this guy is going to be huge. I have him going 134, and I think that's really low.
Yeah. You're
going to see that spike before the end of the. By the time people are drafting in August, that's going to be much higher.
Yeah.
So if you're drafting soon,
sure, yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
Now for the Saints.
Oh well, Derek Carr retiring.
Does that alter things a little bit?
I think they're
top 4
they
picks.
Go spike up. Everyone's questionable.
Everybody's questionable. Goodness. Yeah. I have Tyler Shuck.
Oh shucks.
Yeah, I think he's going to be their quarterback. He's obviously it's not going to be anybody else, and he's going super low. I have him going 270. Mm. He is not a top 15 quarterback, and he could end the season as a top 10.
You think so?
Yeah. If he one of the main problems with the Saints offense over the last couple of years has been Derek Carr. And the problem with Derek Carr is he really wants to hero ball. He wants to save the team, and it makes bad decisions. It makes him come off of injuries before he's done. It makes him throw wild passes in fourth quarters. And they don't need that. They need someone who's willing to play a little bit more conservatively and not just go crazy. And rookie quarterbacks are going to listen to their coaches.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler Shuck's not the kind of guy that's like, all right, I got to go off script. You know, he's like, hey, I'm gonna trust the guys who have been here for a few years.
He's 25.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He had been in the league for a minute.
Yeah. No.
So he's gonna. Or, no, not the league, but the
college.
NCAA. Yeah.
He's 7 years.
That's right. Man, COVID was crazy. he's gonna know all the guys that he's playing against.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been there. I think he's fine. I think that he's gonna be a pretty good sleeper. Then I have the Falcons.
Juwan Johnson, my man, is going to get it done this year.
Man, I'm tired of breakout years on tight ends. Kyle Pitts has broken my heart. He's ruined that for me. I can't do, this is the breakout year for so-and-so. I'm like, man, even though I just did that with Mike Gesicki. You know. For the Falcons, I'm going back to the Darnell Mooney bin. It has him ranked third up here.
On their team, Dyke's getting drafted. They have him getting, it makes sense.
But I have him at 137
he's
here.
Wide receiver too.
But he's looking like the wide receiver too. But he's a downfield guy.
Yeah.
And they're going to be using Michael Penix. They're not going Kirk Cousins. They're
What?
No, there's no. He's going to be the highest paid backup in the league. They're trading. He's getting traded in the offseason.
No, yeah.
I really think that he's gonna wind up in Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's starting.
Mm-hmm. And Penix, I didn't really see how he threw last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're gonna go, if you aren't getting Drake London, but still want to invest in the Falcons' offense, and Ray McLeod is just so. I really thought that he was going to be the guy last year, and he had a couple good games, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He's not going to be. They're going to be trying to force the ball to Kyle Pitts, and they're going to be. In that situation, I would just go roll the dice on Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
And expect that Penix is going to make some crazy decisions sometimes and just chunk that thing downfield, and Mooney's going to be at the other end of it.
Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, he fast.
Let's hop over to the NFC West, and we'll start with the 49ers.
Other than there, I don't know. Is Purcell top 100?
I think so, but Pearsall is going to see.
Or Pearsall.
He's going to see a lot of looks. The 49ers was a team that was tough finding people because most of them are going to go. They're a good team. A lot of the best players and wide receiver 2s and 3s are going to go very early in the draft. But I went with Isaac Guerendo.
Demarcus Robinson.
Because Christian McCaffrey sometimes is healthy. Sometimes. But sometimes he's not. And when he's usually not healthy, they're going to need to have somebody back there.
Yeah.
And this is the number 2. This is one of the most important handcuffs in the entire league, is this guy.
Oh, yeah, especially with how Christian McCaffrey's been.
And
we still have him.
There's no what's his name, Jordan Mason anymore.
Right.
I think he's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And that's another extremely important handcuff because Aaron Jones can't stay healthy either. So...
But you can't help but start him, you know?
You just can't, man. You gotta. You're just like, man, I gotta get this guy. He's just, So, Isaac Guerendo, I have him here as 150. Now, I made this list like a week or two ago, and we're in the point of the offseason where it's gonna be moving around a lot.
Yeah.
So, as of today, these
especially
are
with how, depending on how McCaffrey looks, Mm-hmm.
He could be
just in preseason.
Would you have the first round? You have a first round pick. Now you're not going to have one because you're keeping Bijan. But if you did, let's say you have an early second round pick.
Yeah. And
McCaffrey's still there. Do you get him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
Bijan and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I would roll the dice.
Okay.
Because just for the PPR value, you know what I mean? Like,
true.
It's just like if he's healthy, it's worth it, you know. And if
it's a steal.
Yeah.
If he's not healthy, then whatever. Dude. You recovered the rest in the draft. You know, you're just the rest of the draft.
I still have Bijan.
Yeah, you still have Bijan.
Yeah.
All right.
And it depends on what wide receivers are off the board too, though. You know.
True.
So
Did you get him or AJ Brown?
Christian, I'd take McCaffrey.
Okay.
For the PPR value alone, I think. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But
But if you can't get him, get his number 2.
Yeah.
Next, I have the Cardinals.
I mean, can I say Kyler?
I mean, I think he goes. I want to say he goes top 100 because of his run value. The fact that he makes up a lot of yards on the ground, I think a lot of people pick him up for that. It could. I have Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Now they drafted him. He's the number 2. So if Kyler does have a good year, they don't have Greg Dortch anymore. They're going to need a nice release valve for Kyler Murray, and they've been relying heavily on Trey McBride. Yeah. Now, Trey McBride's getting a lot of attention. In that situations, it's best to open up your wide receivers more because your tight end's pulling a lot of looks inside the field. So I think Marvin Harrison's going to have a bounce-back year, and I think their number 2, Michael Wilson, will also be pretty good and might be worth a late-round flyer. I have him going 166th. Ranked 166.
Wow. For the wide receiver, too.
Round 16. Way late.
Yeah.
Late bench.
Okay.
And I really do wish it would give us the full rankings. Next, I have the Seahawks.
We can try and find a different... Let's see. I mean, I would probably assume that Noah Fant is probably outside the 100. Obviously, below the defenses, but Charbonnet's probably... Is he top 100?
He is.
He is, yeah.
The cutoff is usually the defenses.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Noah Fant is so low. And it's not going to be MVS. Sam Darnold is going to... He's fraudulent, and now he's in Seattle. So that's all. Jackson Smith and Jigba's gonna have. He's gonna be big, but so is Justin Jefferson. He was, was good. So when Sam Darnold's good, his wide receivers are good. When Sam Darnold's bad, the team is bad. So,
and you think Sam Darnold's gonna be bad?
I think we will have an average Sam Darnold experience where he's going to be really good during the regular season or early in the regular season, and then he's going to fall off. That's just what he does. That's what he did last year. That's what he did in Week 17. That's what he did in the playoffs. That's what he did in the Jets. That's what he did in Carolina. That is what Sam Darnold does.
I'm sure MVS is probably in probably free agency in our league for sure.
Yes, MVS is going to be a free agency.
Yeah.
But
I'd probably pick him up off free agency depending on how the first couple weeks went.
I have the Seahawks sleeper as their rookie tight end Elijah Arroyo. He's going 200 plus. Now, the reason that Noah Fant isn't going top 100 is because he's not great. He's not a great tight end, and they need a great tight end. He's good. He can have huge games, but there's a reason that Denver got rid of him.
Yeah.
So he's probably he probably gets a lot of looks, but I don't know what it is. Maybe he's not a great blocker, so he doesn't see the field a bunch. Mm-hmm. But I think they have this new rookie tight end, and he was drafted early, like day 2. So I think he's going to take over the role. And if Sam Darnold starts seeing ghosts again, he's going to start getting rid of the ball sooner, and it's going to go to him. I think.
Yeah. I think he's probably free agency.
And if the Sam Darnold thing doesn't work out, they got Jalen Milroe. Look.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think I think Elijah Arroyo, if he's not on somebody's roster, he's going to be like the top tight end that sits there all season in free agency. You
think he'll be picked up then first week?
I think he will. Well, maybe not like Isaiah Likely was, but like who's that? Who's the number 2 out of Green Bay behind Tucker Kraft?
Tunyon?
No, Tunyon's gone.
Tunyon's gone.
Dude, put in Green Bay real quick. We're gonna have to hop over to the Rams, but Luke Musgrave. Where he's just gonna be like one of the big names that sits there in the free agency all season. But all right, hop over to the Rams for me real quick. We're gonna do them, and then we're gonna hop out of the NFC West. We're halfway through the NFC. How you feeling? Am I making you feel certain ways about guys? Their fantasy output. Are you like, oh, that guy's actually, I might get that guy?
Yeah.
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 All right. For the Rams, it is Jarquez Hunter. I should make you guess. What we're gonna do for the rest of it is I'm gonna have you guess and see who it might be.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a rookie. They drafted him.
Rookie running back, so he's behind
Kyron.
Oof.
He's Kyron's number 2.
Corum.
Maybe, but also it's like Blake Corum did get opportunities last year and didn't do much with them.
Yeah, so
they drafted another running back.
If they give Hunter opportunities and he does something with them,
he might be the new Kyron.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he'll take over Kyron though.
But
unless Kyron gets injured. If he gets injured,
which could happen. But I think Jarquez Hunter will beat out Blake Corum for the number 2 role.
That's fair.
And will be a really good handcuff.
Yeah.
He's going 200 plus. You're not seeing him. He's like your last him, and I also have Elijah Arroyo going way late 200 plus, where it's like these guys are gonna be available at the end of the draft.
Yeah.
Then we'll hop over to the NFC North and we'll do the Bears. Who do you think it is?
Morning guy. Rookie.
It is not.
Okay.
That's not a bad pick. But he's going to be... The Bears running back room's kind of weird right now. And they have DeAndre Swift right now, right? Is the main guy. But they also have... Let's say they still have Rashawn Johnson.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift. It's kind of all over the place. So when I see running back rooms like this one, and like Chicago, and what's another one? Like the Broncos. It reminds me a lot of the 2013 Broncos team, where going into that offseason, nobody knew who their running back was. It was between 3 guys. The supposed starter, oh gosh, what was his name? Not Tatum Bell. It was, God, weed is awful. So, it was between Ronnie Hillman. It was a guy from Wisconsin. Man, he was off the team after a few years, but they invested a high draft round. He was a round 2 draft pick, but he just kind of busted out of the league. I forgot his name, but then there was between him, a guy named Ronnie Hillman, and a guy named Noshawn Moreno. And in my league, that one dude, the 2nd round draft pick, went really early. Then the Ronnie Hillman was picked up later in the draft, and I picked up Noshawn in free agency. I was like, well, I don't know nobody knows who their running back is going to be, so it could be anybody. And Noshawn Moreno was the best free agency pickup I had that season. That was Peyton Manning's big year, and I feel like that's kind of what's going to happen with the Bears. Yeah. It could be those top 2 guys, Rashawn Johnson or DeAndre Swift, but there could be another random guy way later that just gets picked up and he's huge. But for the Bears, I actually have Colston Loveland, their rookie tight end, 1st round. Yes, that guy, but he was going 109. He top 10 picks, just outside the top 10 picks.
Oh yeah, I guess there's Caleb. I guess I should have known that. That's their top 3. That's their top 100, and then.
So Colston Loveland is their rookie tight end. They're gonna want to feed him a lot. They're trying to give Caleb weapons to work with. They also drafted Luther Burden in the 2nd round. So they're gonna have
a 1st round draft pick.
Yeah, I think Colston Loveland's gonna get a lot of looks. They're gonna feed him. What we're about to see is the emergence of young, tall, receiving tight ends in the NFL getting a lot of targets. Every team is trying to get a Gronk now.
Yeah.
So Colston Loveland, I think, is going to be the guy if he stays healthy. I don't know what his injury history looks like, but they're going to feed him a lot. Next is the Vikings. Let's see if you can figure this one out.
Oh, I'm locked in. Hold on. Justin Jefferson. Are you gonna say J.J. McCarthy?
It's J.J. McCarthy. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one, but he's going 157, and he's Justin Jefferson's quarterback.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fine. He has Jordan Addison too. Their running back situation is looking good with Aaron Jones. Now they have Jordan Mason. He's got a good team around him.
No, he really does. Yeah.
And so he's going 157. If you're going no quarterback, going all weapons early, and you're looking for a late round quarterback to look at, J.J. McCarthy is the obvious pick there.
Yeah.
You know, he may get picked up early. People may start. This is
I'm
one.
Sure, I think he'll get.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think this is one that's gonna spike right before as the offseason goes on. People are gonna realize, oh, that's Justin Jefferson's quarterback. Why don't I have this guy?
Yeah.
You know, so he may start going top 100 sooner than later.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree that he's gonna. I think he'll get picked up in our league for sure.
Yeah.
Like, probably as soon as people start picking up quarterbacks, someone's gonna grab J.J. McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, yeah, they have great offense around him. Like, if he doesn't do well, it's
it'll be a sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Sam Darnold can do it. He should be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So. If Sam Darnold can do it, then anybody can do it.
Not anybody, but
if J.J. McCarthy isn't healthy at the beginning of the year or is struggling with injuries, it's going to be Sam Howell. Either way, it doesn't matter. Whoever the Vikings quarterback is, just get him. Apparently, you don't need. You can have anybody back there, and they'll do good. Sam Darnold sees dead people. Okay, there's some. He sees ghosts. It's terrifying. You don't want that guy leading a franchise. All right. Next is
Josh Dobbs' career.
I have
life again.
Packers. Man, Josh Dobbs. I thought he was going to be somebody. He's still not bad. He's a good number 2. So, All right.
Let's see. I think you're saying. Yeah, probably Romeo Dobbs.
It's not. So here's the thing about the Packers. This was one that was really hard to do because all of the people that are good in fantasy are going top 100.
Yeah.
And I had to. So whenever I did this list, Matthew Golden was not as high as he is now, and he was going just on the edge of 101. Just like, dude, if you're in the 10th round and you've already filled up all of your wide receivers and running backs, and you have a quarterback and tight end, and you're just looking for bench players, if he's there. Don't waste time getting him.
Yeah.
This is not a plus 200 pick. I'm cutting it as close to being this is a sleeper as possible.
Yeah.
And this is one that is 1,000% going to start going much earlier once people clue in.
Yeah, I don't think he's top or he's bottom. He's out of the 100. Yeah.
I
don't think he gets out of probably the 5th round.
At the time when I made this list, he was going 101.
Yeah.
Just barely cutting it. But he's going to get fed more than all their other wide receivers, and their other wide receivers can't stay healthy. How was Jaden Reed last year? He's got a Q tag here, but
yeah, I don't. What's he's questionable for? I know he had games. He was boomer bust pretty much.
If he's there, Tucker Kraft is the obvious one. He's a late round tight end, very reliable. I had him last year. He did very, very good. That would be, since if we can't do Matthew Golden, then I would say Tucker Kraft because he's going to be there, top 1 out of the 100. There are better tight ends than him, and that's about the time the tight ends start coming off the board.
Yeah.
So, I would say that he's going to finish as a top 10 tight end, but that's not a high bar to clear. In NFL.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting if you think you're talking about the emergence of the big catching.
I think it'll happen.
Then if this is the year, then
Tucker Kraft is going to get. Well, I think he's going to go down because there's going to be a sudden flood of them.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
there's going to be close to levels.
I think it'll be harder to get top 10 then probably.
True. All right. Last is the Lions. This one was the hardest one. Everybody in Detroit is going in
Yeah,
the top
I was
100.
gonna say I know everybody except for Jared Goff. Right?
I'll say the break is Jared Goff. That's where the top. That's where it is. So, yeah, look at that. They don't even have projections.
Yeah, this is their third round draft pick was a wide receiver, Isaac Tesla.
He had 0 recorded drops.
Yeah, oof.
I mean
1.48 yards per reception though.
And but he also has, it's so deep. They added Tim Patrick from the Broncos. Yeah. Like it's such a deep wide receiver room that there's
Raymond,
point blank. There's no other way to put it. There are no sleepers in Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, there could be, you know.
There are obviously dynasty sleeper like that, like him. There's dynasty people, but as far as like redraft leagues, there's not anybody. Everybody's going. So I have here Tim Patrick, but I also have Jared Goff. Jared Goff is kind of not. He's not a top 10. He's not really top 10 fantasy quarterback, but he can be. You know, maybe not top 10, but top 5. He's not a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but he has huge games. But he also has huge games where he throws 4 or 5 interceptions. Yeah. You know, he is the boomer bust of fantasy quarterbacks. And if he's there and you've got no quarterbacks, that's not a bad pick. You know, it's a Amon St. Ross quarterback. He's going to get touchdowns, but he's also going to have huge lows. Yeah. So I would say Jared Goff with a huge asterisk next to it. And Tim Patrick just being the number 3 by nature, I think is going to really help him out. He's just an experienced guy. I don't think it's Khalif Raymond. Yeah. Because it's been... Khalif Raymond's going into like his 4th year, and we've been waiting for the big Khalif Raymond.
Oh, he's still been low targets, yeah. 22 targets. Tim Patrick coming in, if he's healthy, all year, you know.
Yeah. They're running... both of their running backs. I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs or Montgomery are going to go down. And if they do, they're just going to lean on the other one. They're not going to continue to split carries. Yeah. So whoever the third running back isn't going to be there except for like as Craig a breather. Craig Reynolds, who's a wide receiver, was a wide receiver and is converted to running back.
After that,
there's not really anybody.
Sion Baki had 6 carries. Yeah.
All right. Let's hop out of the NFC North and we'll do the NFC East. That's a good one. We'll start with the Dallas Cowboys.
Worst division in the league, no.
It's not a difficult climb to the top, but once you're there, it's really tough to come down.
Sleepers. You're my guess for the Cowboys. Let's see. Oof. Hard to say what 100. I don't know if it's. I feel like that might. I'm not saying Dak, but I'm saying I think Dak might be the cutoff. Yeah,
I'm trying. I can tell, but I think it's kind of funner that you don't know.
Yeah,
you know.
I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna say Ferguson.
No, it's not. But Ferguson is a good late round.
My second guess was Tolbert, but
it's Ferguson is a good late round tight end. If he's gonna be there, you can get him. But he does have down games, and they're gonna be focusing on their wide receivers more. So even if he is there, I would still advise against him. He's gonna have big games for sure. Whenever CD's gone, you know, or double covered, and George Pickens, you know, is covered, he's gonna be open a lot more. It's gonna be like the Mike Gesicki situation, but I think most people will see that coming, and he'll go earlier, or he'll just have people will see he has bad games, and he'll end up back on the waiver wire.
I think he'll definitely score a touchdown for sure.
Yeah,
but
I think he's
last year, but
I think he's got one of the lowest floors, but I think he's most consistent. Yeah, you know. Okay, but for the Cowboys, I actually have Jaden Blue, who should be higher. Actually, I saw his name pop up, but I think it's because people are cluing in on what's going to happen. So
5th round.
So the Cowboys running back room is another one of those where nobody knows what's going to happen, and it could be anybody. It could be Javonte Williams. It could be Miles Sanders, or it could be their rookie running back that they just drafted, Jaden Blue. Now, most people are thinking it's going to be Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of really fantasy viable quarterbacks coming or players coming out of the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott is just not doing too great. He's just not healthy, and I just don't. I mean, I think Joe Milton might have a big year if Dak is just doing Dak stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the
you don't think CeeDee Lamb's gonna?
CeeDee Lamb always produces.
Yeah,
but he's of the top 5 receivers, he's the lowest. You know, just because I don't think his quarterback can really get it done, and I think they're trying to avoid CD getting the Megatron treatment by bringing in George Pickens.
Yeah.
Bringing in a number 2 so that way they can keep their wide receiver 1 healthy, you know, and give Dak more weapons. But Jaden Blue is their rookie running back. I think he's ultimate Monty Ball. That's what the guy's name was for the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Monty Ball. Gosh. So I think Jaden Blue will be the guy, but I think a lot of people are going to clue in on that really early. Yeah. So he's gonna start popping up some draft boards.
Yeah. Are we drafting preseason?
Yes. Well, we usually draft the last week of the preseason.
Yeah, so that'll obviously change a lot of minds too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it'll be way late. A lot of people will be locked in on. So that's when you know the best about what your team's going to look like going into the season. All right, and we'll switch over to Washington, the Washington Commanders. Now this is my deepest cut.
Oh, deepest cut? No, I'm just kidding. Luke McCaffrey.
It is not.
That's probably way too low.
No, it is even lower. It's a guy named Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. So he was a late round draft pick, and he's going to be behind 2 kind of not great running backs. Austin Eckler's getting older, and he's getting hurt more often. And Brian Robinson has one of the lowest, I think it's YPCs in the league. Like, he's not good. He might be there for some touchdowns, but he's not the guy. Yeah. And I think they might give a shot to this guy. I think he might wind up being the breakout, the Tank Bigsby, the guy that's like, oh, I didn't know this guy was even on the team, and then he's just huge.
They're saying he might not make the 53-man roster.
I think that might change people's minds. There's already news coming out. I thought it was last week or something that he's kind of turning heads.
Yeah.
I think he's better than Jeremy McNichols, you know, but it is a low climb. It's kind of a high climb for him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, but you're right. I mean, the way that they run it, like you said, I mean, there's room for someone to come in and
be crazy, be good.
Yeah,
you know?
and it could be him. Yeah.
So they have Jaden Daniels, and their wide receivers are what? Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, you know, but
Debo. They have
Debo. Yeah. So the threats in Washington are not the run game. So there's going to be pulling a lot of attention away from the run game, which is going to open the room for the running backs to find some room in there. Yeah. So I think he could be. That's my deepest cut. That one is probably the least accurate, so he may get cut. He may literally just get cut.
Tomorrow.
So, but he could also be huge. Yeah. You know, I said last year that Jaden Daniels I think was going to be big, and he went. You got him way super late. Yeah. You know, so sometimes Commanders will surprise you. Yeah. For fantasy output.
See. Yeah.
Ben Sinnott could also break out, but they've been Ben Sinnott gets the Kyle Pitts treatment where they've been saying that for like 2 seasons.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. This is yeah. 5 targets, 5 receptions, though. Didn't drop a ball.
Yep.
You're big on those guys.
Yep. I mean, sometimes they have huge. Those guys can be really big. So next we have the New York Giants.
If you want to do the Eagles last.
Figure it out.
I mean, I feel like they don't have a lot of top 100
picks. This one was
the
same as the Browns problem, where I was like, "There's not a lot of good people on this team."
Honestly, I don't know if the rookie 4th round pick, like I don't if he's coming in to a starting role, I still don't think he's top 100.
No, Tyrone Tracy had a good year last year, so I don't think Cam Scatterboot's going to be, and he's going pretty high for the name value, so he's top 100.
Oh, he is.
Yep.
Okay, so then it's probably Wandale starting the top the 100. Then
It is. Yeah.
Singletary.
It is Wandale Robinson.
Oh, it is Wandale.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't trust.
He's at 132, and behind him is Theo Johnson, their tight end, is the other guy that I have. Well, you don't trust Wandale? Oh, you had him last year. Thoughts on Wandale Robinson?
Yeah, just I mean, he just.
Would you get him pick 12, round 12? You're just filling your bench at this point.
Yeah, I'd put him on my bench for sure. Still, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's been in the league for a minute. He hasn't he's done okay. You know? I think so. I have Wandale Robinson just because we're gonna see their quarterback room looks way different now. It has Russell Wilson and it has Jameis Winston. So Russell Wilson could flame out, as he's done before, like he did in Denver, or they get Jameis Winston, who's an absolute gunslinger, and just lets that sucker rip.
I think Dart's probably going to be starting by the end of the year.
I don't think he is. I think that they're really going to let him sit.
I
think it might be a Penix situation where they won't bring him in until they kind of get the idea that it's either this or we're out of the playoffs. Where they give him some experience to let him see and play. But I don't think Jackson Dart starts.
No, I don't think he starts day one. Absolutely. By the end of the season, I think he does. I think
they keep him bench the whole. They're giving him the Mahomes treatment. If he plays week 17 when it doesn't matter, or week 18.
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
But and the other one's Theo Johnson. They don't really have a tight end figured out, and that's.
So you think that they're okay with sliding the year through, like even if Jameis and Russ are doing bad, they're just gonna be like, all right, it's a losing year.
They're going to be switching back and forth between Jameis and Russ.
Yeah.
And I think that will be enough to keep people satiated away from Dart. And then, depending on how the year looks, Dart plays the last game of the season, to give him some in-game experience. And then next year, they invest offensive line, wide receivers, just more weapons around him, and then give him the reins.
Yeah.
That's the way to handle it. That's what the Chiefs did. So.
Yeah, but I think Alex Smith was in a little bit better position playing wise than Russ and Jameis in the quarterback room. Like Alex Smith performing the way he was still was better. I think.
How many playoff wins did Alex?
No, but I mean like just regular season.
Wilson have?
I'm talking about for the regular season. There's no reason to go. Oh, let's put Mahomes in. You know what I mean? I think that's more likely to happen in New York, is that they're gonna have reason to say, oh, whatever, let's put the rookie in.
I don't think I don't think Dart plays this year, but I don't think that that's a bad thing either.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be Theo Johnson. I think he's gonna carve out a role as their main tight end. He's gonna be there late in the draft. He's going 150 plus. So if you're going no tight end early and want a tight end late, Theo Johnson's not a bad pickup.
Yeah.
And then finally, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I've heard of them. Pretty good.
I've never heard of them. Who are they?
This is a very difficult team to do.
Again,
all of the players are going
defense
top,
is probably still top 100.
It's the number one team. It's the number one defense. So, it's all... there's no good players on this team to be a fantasy sleeper.
Probably Jahan Dotson.
I have it as Jahan Dotson, yeah.
But
it could very well be Aeneas... go back down. What was his name? Aeneas Smith? Yeah, it could very well be him. But whoever their wide receiver 3 is behind AJ and Devontae Smith, that's the only person that's going to really be fantasy relevant. They're going to have, I think, AJ Dillon and the Quadzilla, the Quadfather, are going to show up. So we're going to see if anybody's taking over goal line tuition, it's going to be AJ Dillon, not Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So AJ Dillon's not a bad number 2, but it looks like for running purposes, like actually on the field every down plays, it's going to be Will Shipley behind Saquon, not AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
But for like goal line number 2 plays, it's going to be AJ Dillon. Other than the occasional sharking of a touchdown from AJ Dillon and Will Shipley, don't. There's not a whole lot of fantasy relevant people outside of the top 100.
I agree. Yeah.
And Jahan Dotson and Aeneas Smith are the only two that are worth looking at because they could carve out a role as number 3.
Jake Elliott.
He's a kicker.
100,
kickers,
yeah.
It's because kickers may go super late.
Yeah.
They vary, and kickers can be kind of. I think the old rule of thumb. My rule of thumb for kickers has always been, you want indoor kickers, and you want teams that can't finish. Stall out. That cannot get touchdowns. Like the Saints. The Saints kicker is great. I used to think that the Denver kicker was always the best because the air up there, you kick more, but that just doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But having an... Did we lose it?
Yeah.
Oh, it reconnected.
Okay. Down for a second, but we're back.
Is it back?
Yeah, we're back.
Oh, okay. So, Saints kicker is always, I think, the best. That's how you get Will Lutz. You just get guys that get in there and just start pinging it in. You just want to be accurate. So I just think people like the Saints tend to have good kickers. Indoor teams. That is the whole list. Is there anybody in the NFC that I made you think, oh, I might go for that, like Emeka Egbuka or Michael Wilson or maybe Jared Goff? Would you consider drafting Jared Goff?
I don't think I'd. No, I don't think I consider drafting Jared Goff at all. I think that you said. Did you say McCarthy?
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy. I think I would take JJ McCarthy as my QB if already if I'm not top 5 QBs. Because I think that's really where the big drop off is top 5. Probably. So if you're not top 5, then it's kind of just I think you have to more or less if I really think we have someone I think someone in our league is going to take JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, Skyler. I think Skyler's he's a big Vikings fan.
Yeah. So unless I was willing to reach for him, I don't think I'll probably have a chance to get him. I mean, it could work out.
If you're drafting say round 10. And all of the big name quarterbacks are already gone, and the other top 5 go up.
No, we do QB.
Yeah, just do QBs, pro team, all or whatever. Yeah. Jamar Chase is a QB.
There we go.
Jaden Daniels is number 3. Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow.
Okay, so I think actually probably top. No, I don't know. I don't think Mahomes finishes top 3 this year either. I just think,
He's 29?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Still young.
I know. I didn't realize. I thought he was 31.
No.
I was getting hopeful.
No, I don't think, I think the offense is kind of just going to be built the same with Rashee Rice being out for the first, 6. I think it's just ball control, try and score, but not a lot of...
There's not a lot of fantasy relevant Chiefs players.
Yeah, not a lot of big. It's just quick, easy. It's like the 49ers without the explosive offense. Yeah. Without the explosiveness of it. It's just they're scheming well enough to get down and score, and the defense is doing the rest.
Would you say that Patrick Mahomes is the new Alex Smith? He's the Peyton Manning of Alex Smiths.
He's the no. What? No. He's no. In what world? He's won 3 Super Bowls.
You just described him as a game manager, kind of checking down a bunch.
I think
slow,
that's
just
what
controlling the ball, no turnovers.
With Rashee Rice at the beginning of the season, that's what it was. It wasn't that way anymore. But then when Rashee Rice went down, it kind of got back to this is kind of the offense that we need to build or the offense that we need to be because of losing, having him go down, having Pacheco go down, we lost our explosive players.
I think the Peyton Manning of our Alex Smiths is a very accurate portrayal of what Patrick Mahomes' offense looks like right now.
You're crazy.
I do think that Patrick Mahomes. I like his weapons. I like his wide receiver room right now. I know it doesn't look great, but I do think 1 or 2 big name guys, they'd be fine. What if they trade for, some big name wide receiver? What if they get Jerry Jeudy from Cleveland?
If they get Jeudy, I don't think that's gonna happen. I want to be super. I want to be oh yeah, we got Jerry Jeudy. I'm not that big on Jerry Jeudy.
Is there? Well, yeah. Well, I was trying to think of like a B plus kind of wide receiver.
Yeah.
You know, not a big name like Tyreek or
Yeah.
AJ Brown or something, but like, you know, just like they get a. Oh, okay. Would that help
Yeah.
if they got like Demario Douglas?
We got like where's T Higgins on the list?
He's up there. He's
Is he? If I said like a T Higgins?
If you got a T Higgins.
Oh yeah, if we got T Higgins, I'd be ecstatic.
I think T Higgins is. They always say that the Eagles have 2 wide receiver ones, but no, the Bengals do.
Yeah.
And T Higgins would be the guy on every other team.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they knocked it out of the park. 2 picks. Nice.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, late round quarterbacks.
Yeah. Where's JJ McCarthy at?
Oh, JJ McCarthy is 19th.
For Stafford.
Yeah.
So if you're in a 10-team league and every team gets 1 quarterback, that's the top 10.
Let's see quarterbacks that are all going to get drafted in the top 10 for sure.
I may go back-to-back quarterbacks in the first 2 rounds, just to really throw it, because we used to have somebody in our league who would do that.
Yeah, those were the days. Although sometimes there was like 1 year it was justified. I think, like because Josh Allen was like so far ahead of everyone in fantasy that it was like
he should have gone in the first
point
round.
Differential, yeah, where it was like. For the point differential to the
position,
sense. To the position was like really good.
Mm-hmm.
That like,
but then he followed it up with who was it in the second round? Patrick Mahomes.
I think so. Yeah.
No, it was Lamar. No, yeah, it was Patrick Mahomes because it wasn't Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So, I think top 10. I do think
they all get drafted in our league for sure.
Yeah.
I think
if you really sit and wait, you could get Justin Fields. You could get. It looks like Jordan Love.
Yeah, I think most people I think most people do draft 2. It seems just there's so many teams that you might as well
And then there's I think JJ McCarthy's really good late. As far as these guys, I think
CJ Stroud being that low.
Man,
crazy.
CJ Stroud is way down there, but he
Yeah.
also doesn't have as many weapons as he used to.
Yeah, true.
Tank Dell's getting hurt. He doesn't. It's all Nico Collins. That's why I have Jaden Higgins as like the guy. If Jaden Higgins is having a good year, that means CJ Stroud is having a good year. So CJ Stroud could be there. That's not a bad pickup, but he's also. I just don't.
I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is on the hot seat this year. If he can't get it done, he's done for.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
they don't
Travis
have
Hunter. I'm not taking Trevor Lawrence.
They're not going to have a reason to keep Trevor keep him anymore. He's just paying them too much, and they're not getting it done. They're going to have to do something else. And if they're having a bad year, they're just going to tank it for Archie.
Oh gosh, yeah. Love a good tank year from the Jags. Didn't they tank for Lawrence?
Yeah.
Tank for T-Law.
Tank for Trevor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's.
Was it Is it Archie Manning? No, what's the name of the kid?
Archie.
Is it Archie? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, the Peyton kid. Yeah.
Would you draft Cam Ward, the Titans' #1 guy? Now, not a great situation in Tennessee, but do you think he could be a surprise? You have not drafted a quarterback. You're sitting with the last pick. You're just now realizing you didn't draft a quarterback. Your options are Cam Ward or Bryce Young.
Oh, I'm taking Bryce Young.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking Bryce Young.
Are you taking Cam Ward or Anthony Richardson?
Probably Cam Ward.
I'd give Cam Ward a shot. I'd be like, man, I already screwed it. I already blew it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to trade for somebody.
Yeah.
So, who's below Bryce Young here? It can't get any better.
Geno, Sam, Aaron Rodgers, Russell, Tyler Shuck.
Would you consider drafting Geno or Sam Darnold? Now, I'm not a Sam Darnold believer. I don't know if I've ever made that clear.
No, this is like last pick of the draft. Like everyone else has already been picked and it's down, and like everybody above Geno is gone. Mm-hmm. I probably honestly. I might take Aaron Rodgers.
Of the starting quarterbacks, which one do you think would be most likely to help you move?
Aaron Rodgers.
No, he wouldn't.
To help you to trade.
No, help you move. Like if you're you need to move. You got to go to a new house. You know?
Oh.
Yeah, which one's a good
So
guy?
I thought you meant like help me move themselves, like the quarterback to
if
trade.
actually instead,
Gino definitely, yeah.
Gino would help me move.
I think
He's a cool guy.
Gino.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers would help me move.
No.
No, he would be like, I'll call you back, and then I'd never hear from him again.
Yeah, that's okay because I don't like helping people move either.
I mean, I respect it, but at the same time, no, but that is a good question. If you are going to pick up a quarterback or a third quarterback super late, which one will help you move? Which one do you think will be worth really high value? You know, like who do you think could blow up in these later drafts that you can move for somebody?
I would say Aaron Rodgers then, yeah.
I think Geno Smith, actually.
In Vegas?
Yeah.
I think if anything, they're going to be the Gianti show, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You think it's going to be like a lot of short passes, like a Jamal Charles type
exactly.
thing? Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of game manager. He's going to get a lot of all he's got to do is control the ball. DK had and them DK and Tyler Lockett were really really good when Geno Smith was on our center, and Pete Carroll's back. He likes running the ball. He likes Ashton Gianti, but in goal line situations, not a big fan of running it. Apparently, likes to throw it instead. Costs him the Super Bowl sometimes, but other times it means touchdowns for Geno. And it means touchdowns for Jack Beck. And Geno Smith could have a huge year, and then you could be like, hey, I'm just going to move this guy for a wide receiver that's having a down year, and then boom, suddenly Tyreek is blowing up, and the Dolphins are looking better or something, or he got traded.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I do think that Geno wouldn't be a bad one if you're not. I wouldn't want to trust Geno for the whole season, but I would if he has a good week, I wouldn't mind picking him up, and then if he keeps it up, I'll send him somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, but that is the entire NFL. One player for each team that I think could be fantasy relevant, a good late round flyer, someone that might be there. A few of them, probably not so much. Like Matthew Golden's definitely going top 100. I think a lot of people are going to start cluing in on a few of these guys and being like, oh, Igbuka, he might be the guy. Or, people really want Bryce Young. He's having a good off-season training camp, and people might want him, But I think there are a lot of really good picks way late. I think the only position that really struggles with late round fantasy value is the running back position.
Right. They have Matthew Golden going 72 on here.
Yeah, he's 72 on here.
Yeah.
Then Tucker Kraft would have to be the one if he's sitting super late.
Yeah, I think he was. But... Oh yeah, quarterbacks. There's quarterbacks going. Jacoby Myers. Sneaking in.
I think Jacoby Myers. So these fringe guys, I want to talk about some of these real quick. Because Jacoby Myers has the lowest drop percentage of any wide receiver in the league. And now he has Geno Smith throwing to him. He's going to be the guy in Vegas.
Yeah.
If he's there in the 9th round, it looks like, get him.
Oh, yeah, I would take him, yeah.
And Ricky Pearsall is expected to have a big year. Purdy's going to be throwing a bunch. And they're going to want more out of their wide receivers with Debo being gone.
Yeah, and especially now that, they just signed... Purdy to that contract too.
I don't think Jawan Jennings is going to be the guy. He's very explosive, but he tends to be good for 1 or 2 big games, and that's kind of it. I think Ricky Pearsall has a higher floor.
Yeah. I agree. I like this. I mean, this says it too. I think he's going to be lead the team in targets by the end of the year for sure.
And then Keon Coleman is. He could. So the Bills wide receiver room's kind of all over the place. I have Josh Palmer, but Keon Coleman could have a bounce back year and be really big next year. We don't really know who Josh Allen's big targets are going to be, but it's Josh Allen. He's going to throw that thing.
He's going to sling it. Yeah.
And Pittman, all Colts wide receivers are not fantasy relevant in my opinion until the quarterback room gets situated. Because it could be Anthony Richardson, who doesn't throw the ball, and it could be Daniel Jones, who throws it a lot. Yeah. It can go either way. So until that gets sorted, I would advise away from Colts players. I would say maybe get Pittman if he's there around 10 or 11, but I wouldn't. I would see what other options there are.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I'd grab Pittman late for sure. If by the and if depending on when the draft is, for anyone watching.
Yeah.
But
He's gonna jump up once the quarterback room gets situated.
Yeah, if it's Richardson starting, then I would probably I'd probably pass on him and.
If it's Jones, probably.
But I guess it might be worth a late round pickup if he drops because if Richardson's starting, I don't know how long it'll be till he's injured.
True. Eventually, Daniel Jones would take over if Richardson starts. So
yeah, I don't see Anthony Richardson staying healthy.
As far as but running backs are really tough to find way late in the draft. It used to be. You could run no running back and just rely on your wide receivers and quarterbacks and pick up running backs on waivers. That's still very possible. That's very plausible because every single year there's always a handful of running backs who explode on the waiver wires. That's what Kyron Williams was. That's what Noshawn Moreno was. I think that's what Jonathan Taylor was his first year. I don't think a lot of people were drafting him.
Yeah.
I think so. It does happen that there's going to be a starting running back in the free agency. But it's a lot smarter to invest a top 10 or top 10 rounds pick on a running back to just sort of like, this is my guy. To just as a rock to hold on to. And if he busts, then he busts. But normally you're going to have at least one guy that will keep the fort down while you fill the rest of your roster with other running backs.
Bijan.
So that's the only way that zero RB works. Or is viable, and it's just you got to be really good on waivers. That's why I don't think losing week 1 is that bad of a thing.
No, I think being top waivers has been like the
you almost kind of want to lose.
Yeah, that was the year that I won was I think because waiver wires because that's when I got Kyron off a waiver. I got one other person. Shoot.
Was it Robinson? Brian Robinson?
Maybe.
I think it was your first year with Brian Robinson, yeah. But there was a year where I got the first year that Kenneth Walker blew up. I got him on waivers, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. But I do think it's just smarter to go running back early.
I got Laporta off of waivers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Gosh, that was kind of the beginning of this whole thing. Now, I mean, T.J. Hawkinson was around before that, but he didn't pan out in Detroit.
No,
so he's fine. He's a good tight end, but he can't. He's too big. He's a big dude. He's a huge dude. He gets hurt a lot because he's so big. Yeah. So, but I think the rest of these guys probably not so bad.
How do you feel about Goddard being out of top 100?
I'm fine with that. I think there's just too many mouths to feed in the Eagles. It was already tough finding a wide receiver 3, but if Dallas Goedert could be considered a sleeper, he has down games. His down games are really down. Like and then he's starting to get hurt more often.
Yeah.
We were trying to move him for the offseason. That wasn't a rumor. It's just because he's not the most consistent tight end ever. And it's not. He's just getting older.
Yeah, but when he's on it, he's on it though.
Can be. Yeah. He can have huge, really cool games, but he gets hurt.
Yeah, and like the catches he makes and stuff. That's what I mean. Like he'll have like even if it's like 1 or 2 catches for the night, like he always had like big catches.
Check his touchdown count.
Yeah, I saw 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 2.
Yeah.
And he was hurt a lot.
Yeah, but he'd make crazy sideline catches, wouldn't he?
And he was stiff arming people and stuff.
Yeah.
He was really helpful in the playoffs, but we didn't use him. Yeah. We have a Saquon, and we have an AJ Brown and a Devontae Smith to throw to. There's just too many mouths to feed in Philadelphia.
Yeah. But
if he's there at pick 10 and you haven't drafted a tight end, yeah, for sure.
Najee being out of the top 100, that's kind of crazy. Well, dang, they're only protected because of O'Marion.
Because of O'Marion, yeah.
Man. Didn't they? When did? Oh, that was first round. He was a first round draft pick, wasn't he?
What? G?
Hampton?
Yeah. They're going to be splitting carries to start the year, and I just don't. Like what he was asking about with Bucky Irving or Omarion Hampton.
That's why you're saying Bucky because you think
at the very least, at the very least they're going to be splitting.
Yeah, because you still have
Bucky Irving. The only it's not Rashid White is the only guy that really threatens Bucky Irving.
Yeah,
and he is kind of just a passing downs guy. His yards per carry are god awful.
Yeah, and Bucky
he doesn't do anything
passing yards guy too.
But Bucky Irving has better skill set. You know, he's also a passing down guy and gets it done. So who did I have for the Steelers? Calvin Austin. Yeah, it really depends on who the Steelers wide receiver situation is. That's the same goes to Pat Freiermuth. A lot of these guys, I think it really depends.
Yeah.
You know. But I had a lot of rookies on here, so
That's fair.
there's gonna be a lot of people that'll step in. Tyler Warren was a first round pick by the Colts, right?
Yeah.
That could be the Colts guy. But I do think that whoever the number 2 is behind Jonathan Taylor is a better investment. Because quarterback situation.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Mm-hmm. Just seeing what something that's be surprising to see Ayuk. I mean, I guess not surprising, but it's crazy. Just like where
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming off of an ACL tear.
Yeah.
And there's already guys that are
ACL
trying to catch
and
up to him.
MCL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He may not come back and be the same.
No, yeah. So. No, I understand it. It's just like seeing it's just like, oh man.
He could be, and that wouldn't be a bad pickup late, but I don't like chancing on people that have really bad injuries like that.
Mims.
Like I don't think Tank Dell's going to be the same either.
No, yeah.
So it's unfortunate. He's still going to be on the team and he's still going to get paid. But as far as fantasy value, there's not a lot. He could have a huge like bounce back, but and we hope for it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Algier as a handcuff since you're keeping Bijan?
I'm not really worried about a handcuff for Bijan. I think he's pretty healthy. I think the only games he missed was for mental, something like mental health. That he missed a game for.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Didn't he? Wasn't he? Well, that was. Didn't he also have mono or something?
I can't remember. But still, I'm not worried about him getting injured and he's but if I had a chance to what would this be around? Yeah, around. How many rounds do we have?
If it's a 10-team league, it would be around 14 because it's 148, 14.
Yeah.
He would be the 8th pick in the 4th round. Is how I look at rankings. The 14th round.
14th round, yeah. Yeah. How many rounds?
I think it's 17.
17, yeah. I was gonna say. Yeah. I'd probably take Algier if I down there just to I might as well grab him,
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be worried about it if I didn't get him.
I think Cardinals backup Trey Benson behind this guy right here wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
But I don't like picking handcuffs just because sometimes you don't ever see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you feel about Kareem Hunt as a handcuff? Do you draft Pacheco? Is a better question. Round, what's he like? Yeah. Top, he's like 75 or something.
You want me to look? Probably not. I think because I have Bijan, I'll probably already have my wide receivers figured out or my running backs figured out. There's Kelsey.
There he is. 86. So in the middle of the 8th round. Or 9th round, I think. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I probably would. Yeah, just because
Would you draft him or Javonte Williams, who could be the starter in Dallas?
Probably Pacheco. Yeah. I think. Just if he. I don't know if he comes back and he's healthy, and he takes over lead back. I think he has a lot more upside than anything else. I think he could put out a 1,000-yard season if he stayed healthy the whole year.
He broke his leg. It was a broken fibula, which isn't like any sort of ligament anything. So you can usually bounce back from those pretty well.
But he was already rotating. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he never actually came back and. He had the lead back role, and then after he got injured, when he came back, he never really took it back. I mean, that might have just been because of recovery. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to just have him be lead back, but I don't know.
Now they still have Kareem Hunt, and they added Elijah Mitchell.
But if I already had 2 starting running backs, I'd be fine taking Pacheco for the upside because I think there's
as like a RB3 or a flex.
Yeah, or even just to sit on my bench just in case. I probably wouldn't start him. Week 1 or 2 until it was kind of established what his role was.
Mm-hmm.
But
true. All right.
I think that's probably most of these people down here. Same thing if I did draft Javonte Williams. Like I probably I wouldn't.
These are all late running backs. They're starting running backs technically, but they may get beaten out for roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is whenever the I wouldn't say mid, but like top 15 quarterbacks are leaving.
Yeah.
Would you draft Baker if you're sitting this late in the draft, round 9?
Oh yeah, I'd take Baker. Yeah.
Okay. Would you take
that's
Baker?
Crazy that they're projecting him at 3,600 yards. I guess because of Chris Godwin being being hurt, but still.
I think he's going to bounce back. It's also they lost Liam Cohen.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, Duval. If Trevor Lawrence has to do well this year, would you draft Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Would you draft Trevor Lawrence or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix.
Would you draft Trevor Lawrence or Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy for sure. Yeah.
Okay. What about Geno Smith?
Geno.
Man, is there anybody that you would not draft above him?
Daniel Jones.
Okay, so if the starter in Indianapolis has decided to be Daniel Jones, would you rather Trevor Lawrence or Daniel Jones? Those are the only options left. There's a huge run on quarterbacks.
Probably Trevor.
Okay. He could. Brian Thomas Jr. had a good year last year. So, But I think the Jacksonville defense might actually start pulling it out.
What was his, let's see, where's he at? I know it won't show me the thing, but I know he was way down here. They have over him. Oh wait, did I pass him?
Yes, you did. You saw Kenny Pickett and was like, no way. There's no way.
2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns.
Ugh.
7 ints.
That is not good.
Yeah. 119 rushing for 3 touchdowns.
He also was hurt. I remember he got he got beat up a bunch.
Yeah. It says let's see, played the bulk of snaps in 9 games and averaged 16 fantasy. That would have ranked 15th over the full season. So in the games that he played, so he was mid range. I don't know. I just never been a Trevor Lawrence believer.
I know you're not. But that was the best that they had back then. It doesn't get the next option was Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, but that's great. I still don't think I think Bryce Young over Trevor Lawrence, even just based off of.
I am shocked that Bryce Young's so low.
I get it because his overall production wasn't good, but the last half of the season though he looked great and they were winning they were losing really close games.
Yeah, they were getting close. It was getting.
And it's like if you I guess I don't know. I didn't wait until 5:30. We're back either way because she's gonna
I mean, we can hang out for a second.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well. But I think that's a good list. Go to tight ends actually, because tight ends are going to look a little. I've always looked a little weird. The number 1 is Brock Bowers, and he's going in like the top 3.
Yeah.
And McBride's going not too far behind him.
Kittle being that high makes sense. I think
I feel like he's going to get though.
Yeah, if he stays, it's always.
Oh, he had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get leaned on a little bit more this year than.
True. Since they don't have Debo and Ayuk is
I project him to have a better season than last year if he stays healthy.
If he's healthy.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta, you had him last year. What do you think?
I don't. He didn't.
There's a lot of potential with Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I obviously the first year I had him was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This year,
not so much.
What did he finish?
He had 726
final 11, nearly identical.
Him and T.J. Hawkinson. Now, Sam Laporta would just have games where he would just disappear.
Yeah, he finished the last half of the season. It got better.
There's too many mouths to feed in Detroit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And T.J. Hawkinson is next on the list, and he just can't stay healthy. Yeah. He gets hurt a lot because he's a big guy, and it's tough being a big guy in a sport where people throw each other at each other.
Yeah.
David Njoku is next.
Yeah, David Njoku. I want to draft Njoku.
Quarterback situation is awful. And it could be pretty good if maybe Shador breaks out.
I would never draft a Browns player.
Njoku he could be not great.
Kelsey's gonna have a breakout year.
He could.
No, I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll. I mean,
I think he'll have a better year at least.
I don't know. I think he'll probably have about the same. Honestly,
I think he wants to end on 1,000 yards.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I would love to see it. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna happen.
Well, with the
see.
power of Taylor, it could.
With the power,
You know,
with the Swifties, I think he'll have about a similar year.
He needs to get it done before he cheats on her, because it's going to go downhill really quick.
More touchdowns this year, probably.
So,
but yeah, I would take him. I would take him off. I would take Kelsey if the top three.
If you're around 8,
I would take Kelsey over Njoku and probably Hawkinson still for sure. I don't think I'd take him over Laporta and McBride or Bowers. Kittle's a toss-up for me just because, you know...
He could, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
But if Kittle's there, then Laporta's there, and Hawkins, other people are there.
I think Laporta might go before Kittle, but...
It has Kelsey before Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about Evan Ingram?
I mean, you know, with Bo Nix... I think... If he's tied in 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Evan Ingram could easily
he could have a really good
wide
year.
receiver
Yeah.
2, yeah. Essentially wide receiver 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark Andrews, by the way, I just want to say that he had. I think he could bounce back, but I do think that Baltimore has the same problem as Detroit and Philadelphia, where there's just too many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
There's just something that's over there. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, that combination together just almost makes everybody else on the team fantasy irrelevant.
Yeah.
And every now and then, Isaiah Likely will have a huge game, Rashawn Bateman will have a huge game. Sure, yeah, but there's not going to be a lot of consistency unless your name is Derrick or Lamar.
Yeah, you just have to get really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
hope that
a lot
you
of
start him on the
boomer
right
bust.
year.
And I think Mark Andrews,
right
I don't know if he'll have a bounce back, but I wouldn't take him.
No,
I would take Jonnu Smith over Mark Andrews, because Jonnu is going to have Tua still throwing it, and he's been in the league for a minute, so he knows his shit. But I would go Tucker Kraft was one of my sleepers.
Take Tucker Kraft over, definitely. I take Tucker Kraft over probably Andrews. I'd probably take him over Ingram too, honestly, just off of production alone. You know, like I know, you know, Evan Ingram's, you know, can produce, but
he's also gone. He can also miss. Like there was one year where he finished in the top 10 of tight ends, and it's because he had one really big game.
Yeah. I used to like Firemouth.
I would take
like
Colston Loveland over Dallas Goedert. Just because I think Chicago's going to want to see what he can do. They're going to want to play with their new weapons, whereas the Eagles are like, we have a set system.
Yeah, I take a first round tight end. I think you're taking over someone like Dallas Goedert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Firemouth. I don't know, Kincaid.
I'd get him over Kincaid.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when Josh Allen throws, it's not to his tight ends.
Yeah, true. And if he's trying to throw deep and sling it, yeah. And if there depends on, you know, I didn't pay enough attention to their draft to see how their defense, if they kind of focused on defense, and I know that was the big thing last year was their defense was just
I'm pretty sure they did defense.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think maybe they'll be a little bit slower offense if their defense gets better, you know. And Kincaid might, you know, I think he might be worth a pickup.
Yeah. I would take Colston Loveland over Kincaid. I would probably take Tyler Warren. I would rather try one of these new first rounders just to see.
Just on the off chance that they break out. Yeah.
Gesicki as well. Do defenses.
Texans number 1.
They're pretty good. They have Derek Stingley, and they invested in defense in the offseason and the draft, and they're not in the most competitive division ever. You know, that's the reason why the Texans defense could be so good is the same reason I said the Jaguars defense could be really good.
Yeah.
Is there anybody down here in the laters that you're kind of like, 49ers defense might not be bad. They had a down year last year, but they could be kind of serious this year.
Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like I want to say teams like the Bengals who had an awful defense last year, but like was like a year or two before that, like they were pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's like when you have teams that are like, oh, we're bad this year, and then like, I think that those are kind of the teams that I think are more likely to be successful again. When they have that like, I don't know, mentality, I guess, or whatever.
Would you draft the Browns defense?
No, I've never drafted Browns. I'm not drafting Browns ever.
What if...
Gross.
So I don't think there's anybody down here, except the 49ers defense might be good. I don't think there's anybody really down here that I'm looking at and I'm saying they're going to be good.
I think Falcons are close.
I think they could be. Yeah. Well, they drafted 2 pass rushers this last year. They had the lowest sack numbers of last season. So they're trying to get their pass rush. I wouldn't trust it until I saw it with the Falcons. Go to like pick 10 through like 13 or whatever. So it's the Packers, the Eagles. If this is serious that the Eagles are not going in the top 10, that's a huge pickup. I would definitely pick them up. The Eagles defense is insane right now.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is sorted.
It looks like it's sorted by projection. Well, not even actually. It's not projection next year either. I don't know what I assume it's by.
Well, it looks like it's projected. Yeah,
it's just projected what team's gonna go first.
Yeah.
I think if I'm taking free pick of any defense, I think I'm probably taking the Broncos.
I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah.
And that's not even me being a homer. I just think that their pass rush is insane. They have really good corners.
Yeah, but
safeties.
the Eagles have. I think the Eagles have a pretty tough schedule because isn't it the AFC West year for the Eagles? That's why we're playing the Eagles, right?
Well, we're not. So we already beat that team, and that's why I'm not worried about the AFC West.
But I'm saying you have to play the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs.
Yeah, well, we already beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, okay. I'm just saying I think it's a harder schedule than us having to play the Eagles, Commanders, Giants, and Cowboys.
It's not. It's not the harder schedule.
Okay.
It's very easy.
And then you have the number one, you have the first place schedule on top of that, which granted the NFC's, kind of.
Well, we're the champions.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I think the Eagles defense has a harder time than the Broncos defense does. I guess the Broncos defense has to play the Chargers, Eagles, and Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders.
Twice, but the Broncos defense isn't bad, but no homer. I'm going Eagles. I do if the Eagles aren't there, and let's say I think the Ravens and the Steelers would be the next 2 big ones because that is not a tough division outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah, I like the Vikings too. To be honest, but they just I remember the second half of last year, or the second half, but however long it was towards the end of the year,
they started falling off.
They really fell off. Yeah. So, but those are the teams. That's what I mean. Like they were getting it done, and they were making these plays. So I think that when you have that type of obviously they had something right, and whatever went wrong after, like you have the whole offseason to figure it out. I feel like we should come out at least strong. If you at one point, they got 24 ends last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're, but yeah.
Would you get the Seahawks defense? I wouldn't. I don't like that division. Yeah. I think there's too many in here that the division. The Bills defense I think should be a top 5 defense. That's not a very tough division, and they are the incumbent champions of that division. They probably should succeed. If they're ranked 9, here, and it's late, and I can't get the Eagles, I would get the Bills defense.
You're taking Bills second if the Eagles aren't there.
And not second. If there's other defenses, I would consider, but Bills wouldn't be a super high priority. It wouldn't be a bad pick. I think.
Who's your second priority over the Eagles?
After the Eagles, I would say the Broncos, and then the Ravens or the Steelers, and then the Vikings. Then I would put the. Do the Lions have a good defense?
I think they were kind of middle of the road last year, like in terms of fantasy value. Yeah, I mean, they scored 100 last year.
Yeah, I would put the Texans.
I think that's on the lower end, 100.
Because the Texans can do some, could pull off some crazy stuff.
For some reason, they don't have like points allowed and stuff. Oh, there it is, points allowed. That is points allowed. 334, 335. They just didn't have a lot of fumble recoveries.
I would put the Texans defense. I think a lot of this is accurate, but I think the top picks need to be bumped down, and the Eagles need to be number one. And I'm not saying that as a homer, which is the hard part to try and get across that, like, no, this is really underranked. Like, this is.
They're saying their projections are having them one of the highest yards allowed. Oh no, I guess these low ones are pretty down there.
Yeah.
But 5,900 from. I mean, you guys did 4,700 last year.
That's a huge jump. That's insane.
Yeah.
But.
And the other yards allowed. I mean, you guys didn't have a ton of turnover.
No, but I think we'll get better this year.
Yeah, so I wonder why they have it so much. Yeah, points allowed.
Yeah, our points allowed is the lowest. We just didn't let people do anything.
Yeah.
So, but.
Yeah, that's crazy that they have you ranked so low, honestly. I could agree with you there, especially after the Super Bowl. I mean, who am I? I can't say otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd take Broncos then Eagles. Would probably be.
I think Patrick Surtain is a really good corner.
Because I think you guys might slump too. I think the first, before the Eagles bye last year, something was happening.
You can't slump in a three-peat. That's not how three-peats work. You should know, but you don't. So.
Well, the Chiefs never slumped in the three-peat bid.
Did they do
other
it?
into the Super Bowl? The slump of the Super Bowl, but I think that was more.
It seems like they slumped right at the finish line.
Right at the yeah. But no, I don't know. I think the first, what was it? You guys had a week 6 bye.
Yeah. Oh, it was early. Yeah, like week 5, week 6.
I think if you didn't have that bye, I think if that was a week 8 bye, the Eagles might not make the playoffs.
I kind of agree. That bye really turned us around because we had just came off of a loss against the Falcons, which was only by like Saquon not getting a catch, which whatever, and the other one was we just got the shit beaten out of us by the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay always has our number, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's really the only reason why I think that it's possible that I would rather take the Broncos over the Eagles, just because there's a possibility of them, like maybe just I don't know, maybe it's a locker room thing, maybe it's that they live in Philadelphia,
it just messes with their brains and they get crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, who knows what it is, but there's just. The Broncos seem to be like, they have a, kind of a history too. I mean, the Eagles have been recently, but I think the Broncos have been, more of a, when their defenses are good, their defenses are good,
Yeah.
I mean, they have them jumping up, not too much, but.
All right. Well, that's mostly all of it. Kickers are kind of irrelevant unless you're in a kicker premium league.
Yeah, so. I think number one is who's the Ravens guy?
Bobo?
What was that?
It's a new guy.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Let's go check out kickers. We'll do this last thing, and then we'll call it.
Let's see, kickers.
They have it as Jake the Lions kicker. That makes a lot of sense. They score a lot. I think Washington's kicker, well, they might regress. Do you think that there's a potential that Jaden Daniels regresses and we have a C.J. Stroud regression? Because that's what happened to C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
He kind of had a little bit of a didn't do great.
I don't. They
slid a bit.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think my top one. Honestly, I'm a huge Chargers hater. So I might take Dicker. I think teams like maybe the Browns kicker, whoever they have.
What? I thought you said you wouldn't draft a Browns player.
I know I wouldn't.
I would draft
Kyler Santos. I think Santos might.
Tyler Loop. That's his name, not Bobo. Tyler Loop is the new Ravens kicker. I think that one wouldn't be bad, but he's a rookie. Kaimi Fairbairn, I think, would be good. He's been getting hurt, but maybe Will Lutz.
You're just saying that because I think the Chiefs, honestly, the Chiefs kicker, if it's still is it Butker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's.
Why wouldn't it be Butker? Did he do
Well,
something or say something that people might find offensive or something?
No, well, yeah, he has, yeah, absolutely. But
sure.
he was injured last year.
I would. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He keeps getting hurt. That's what it was. Cairo Santos, the Bears kicker, they might not be able to finish some drives, so I think that might not be a bad pickup. Commanders, I think, might be in the same boat.
He only kicked 26 field goals last year, though.
Yeah.
He only missed one, but I mean that's.
Well, that's what you kind of want to. No, those are extra points.
Extra points. Oh, total. That's what I'm looking for. 25.
25, 21. That's about
Boswell
right.
kicked 44.
Chris Boswell should be the number one kicker here. He won games last year.
Yeah, Sanders, kicking. Aubrey, but Aubrey's.
I think Aubrey should be the number one. Should also be like a number one kicker.
Yeah, I think I would. Honestly, even with.
I'd pick up Aubrey.
Yeah, and I think I'd take Dicker. Actually, I'm looking at last year's. I mean, honestly, I'd probably take Boswell number one, like you said, if that was my first choice. Just going off of last year's numbers, yeah, Fairbairn, like you said. I mean, the Texans might not be able to finish drives.
I think that there's some good.
Colts.
Yeah, Colts brought in some new guy, and he sank a couple. I think there's options. I think that kicker you really can't miss. Just try to aim for somebody that isn't, that's actually going to be isn't going to be punting more often than kicking.
Yeah. Looking at 50 pluses, they gave Carlson's 11 opportunities last year, but that was different coaching. So
he could Carlson could have a huge year.
Yeah, I don't know how big.
Because he's accurate, short range.
Yeah, I don't know how big. Pete Carroll is throwing 50 plus out there.
Well, I mean, he was more than 50%. He was 7 for 11.
I guess here you go. Jake Myers had 12 last year, so yeah, might be a good option. Finished with 136. That's pretty good. Yeah, Fairbairn had 16, but yeah, so Fairbairn looks like could be a good, especially with the Texans offense, like you said. If McMillan, right, I can't remember his name.
What?
The Texans guy.
C.J. Stroud?
No, the new wide receiver.
Did you say Ted McMillan? That's Panthers. Their wide receivers are Nico Collins.
I thought they drafted someone in the first
round. They
did.
I just shut my computer.
We'll get there.
So.
What am I doing?
It's something.
This will be easier. Jaden Higgins.
Yeah,
second round. Okay. And then third round. That's what it was. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, they took a.
Oh yeah, it could also be Jalen Null,
yeah.
But it looks like Jaden Higgins is really looking like to be the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
I think Tank
6'4", 214.
Yeah.
80-inch wingspan.
Yes, he's huge.
Ooh, that's yeah.
I would think about it. I would consider.
I would draft him.
Would you draft him in the top 100? Because I think he's going to move up once people start fluent in.
Yeah, I would. I'm a bit. I don't know. I wish the Chiefs had a guy like that. I want a big he's massive.
That would give Patrick Mahomes somebody to throw to.
Yeah. They
don't want to do that. He works best when he has nobody to catch it, and he is running out of the pocket to save his life. That's what people watch the Chiefs to see this grown man run for his life.
Yeah.
And do spectacular things as a result of his panic.
Yeah. Don't want someone wide open every time.
Don't want that.
Yeah.
But I think
they're saying late round lottery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Justin Watson is in Houston now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever.
He was supposed to be the other Kelsey.
Yeah.
He could be Houston's Kelsey.
Let's see here. Let's see what they have for. Do they have a?
Who's Jalen Royals?
4th round draft pick.
Is that the guy that you were trying to talk about, Jimmy Holiday?
No. Maybe
it is Jalen Royals.
I didn't look it up. I didn't continue to look it up, but I didn't look up his name. I just looked at what I sent you. pretty sure when I sent it.
Do you think they keep Sky Moore at all? Or do you think he's just fantasy irrelevant, but he's still on the team?
I don't think they keep him, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it is. He's a wide receiver, Jimmy Holiday. Yeah, he got signed late, but we signed him after mini camp.
So you think he can beat out Jalen Royals, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and possibly Rashee Rice?
No, I think that he can beat. I think he could end up beating out.
I hope the Kansas City Chief wide receiver room is so beat up by the end of the year that Jimmy Holiday is.
I think
relevant.
he could beat up. I think he could beat out Hollywood Brown pretty easily.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be a Hollywood on one side and Xavier on the other side until Rashee gets healthy, and then Rashee picks up.
But we're going to have wide receiver 3, and I think he beats out Justin Ross for sure. Because Justin Ross hasn't done anything to show me otherwise. I think Sky Moore doesn't make the final roster.
Well, why? What is all of this Jalen Royals erasure that's happening? They just drafted a wide receiver. He's going to be number 3.
He might. I think that.
You don't even think he's going to make the team?
No, I think
You're
he will.
So married to Jimmy Holiday.
No, they drafted him in the 4th, so obviously he's going to make the team. But I don't know. I just don't. Hollywood hasn't really,
I think you just like the name Jimmy Holiday, and you're imagining a little Christmas cricket. You know? Because that's just Jiminy Cricket, and Holiday is Christmas. So,
I mean, he just didn't do much. I know he only played like 5 games last year, but he just didn't do much in him, Hollywood Brown. So, and it's
But he was hurt for all of last year.
Exactly. Then that's the problem. He was hurt, and then he comes back and he doesn't do much, and then so I don't see.
Let the man recover.
I have no problem with him. Like, I just don't think. I think that he's probably going to get beat out.
I think Jalen Royals would be a solid pickup because what's his measurements look like? Is he a big guy?
Says average frame, so probably not. Is that you?
Is that me? Yes, it is. Why is it's a group chat?
Oh.
I don't. You're butt dialing me. I don't want to do that.
Well, but yeah, I think I'm on my. It's gonna be my last pick of the draft if he should be on there.
He will be. He
might
not
Jimmy
even,
Holiday.
He might not even be available to be picked. Apparently.
It's okay. So he had.
Have you ever considered that this is a writer that's trying to drum up content for the off season, and so he's really reaching for like camp bodies to be like, this guy's on the team now?
Nope.
Okay.
My source told me that. No, I don't know. Like I said, it's probably when they sign someone to mini camp or after the mini camp tryouts, and all the reporters are. I mean, it's not just one guy. I read a couple people talking about him, but that that he did well, and obviously not enough to get on ESPN, but but basically that he was the way that he was playing was similar to Rashee Rice. He was built like Rashee Rice, and he ran a 4.40. There's another guy too, but I think like Majors something. Which I was like, it's like.
Have we checked to see if the audio was working at all this whole time?
Yeah, remember before the.
Okay, just making sure that.
Yeah, you can see it right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure. Well, what do you think?
Yeah.
Good one. Thanks for coming, everybody. Happy to give you advice. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.